The arena was electric, buzzing with anticipation. Fans packed every seat, their voices a roaring tide of excitement, but at the center, silence seemed to hang like a shadow. Two figures faced each other, diametrically opposed yet equally legendary. On one side, Han, a mountain of a man, his reputation built on fear, speed, and brute force. Opponents whispered his name in dread before stepping into the ring, because once Han struck, few survived unscathed. Every punch, every kick, was precise and lethal. He was a storm, and storms left destruction in their wake. And then there was Bruce Lee. Composed. Lean, smaller than Han by comparison, yet radiating a confidence that could silence a crowd. There was no grand entrance, no entourage, no theatrics. Bruce stepped forward in jeans and a simple jacket, his eyes scanning, analyzing, calculating. Where Han radiated intimidation, Bruce exuded focus, the kind of calm that unnerves even the fiercest warriors. The bell rang. A hush fell over the crowd. In that moment, everyone knew this was not just a fight, this was a clash of legends. One was raw power, the other a storm wrapped in motion and precision. And yet, almost instantly, it became clear, the fight no one expected Bruce Lee to survive had just begun. Han's movements were a blur, a whirlwind of strikes aimed to dominate, to crush, to end the match in seconds. Each punch carried weight and intention, forcing Bruce to move with a speed and agility that seemed impossible for the human body. The dragon danced, slipping between blows, dodging, parrying, flowing like water against Han's relentless storm. Every observer in the arena could feel it. Something extraordinary was unfolding. Bruce Lee wasn't just surviving. He was learning, adapting in real time, reading Han's body, predicting his strikes before they landed. The impossible was starting to look possible. The tension was unbearable. Spectators leaned forward, fists clenched, eyes wide. Some whispered in disbelief. Could a man smaller, lighter, seemingly outmatched, truly stand toe-to-toe with Han? Could the dragon do what no one dared to imagine? Win against a fighter no one thought could be beaten? And in the quiet before the storm of the first real clash, Bruce Lee's calm gaze met Han's fierce eyes. In that moment, the arena didn't just watch a fight, it witnessed the beginning of a legend being written. The sun had barely risen over Hong Kong, but the grand arena was already alive with chaos. Vendors called out from the streets, hawking food and souvenirs. Fans pushed through the crowds, tickets clutched tightly in hands shaking with excitement. This wasn't just any fight. This was the ultimate showdown, Bruce Lee, the Dragon, versus Han, the undefeated terror of the tournament circuit. Inside the arena, the tension was palpable. Han made his entrance first. Towering and muscular, he walked with a predator's confidence, each step echoing across the polished floor. His reputation preceded him. Whispers of his previous victories swirled through the crowd. Every fighter who had faced Han had either bowed in fear or been humiliated in defeat. Han's eyes scanned the audience, cold and calculating, as if measuring the worth of every spectator. But his focus quickly narrowed. He was here for one thing, to dominate, to show the world why his name was feared above all others. And then, a hush fell over the arena. From the back of the hall, a man walked in, quiet, unassuming, calm. No flashy entrance, no entourage, no bodyguards. Just jeans, an old jacket, and a presence that demanded attention without trying. It was Bruce Lee. The crowd leaned forward instinctively, sensing the shift in energy. Bruce moved like water, flowing through the chaos, his eyes scanning, calculating, focused. Where Han radiated raw intimidation, Bruce exuded precise control. Every muscle, every motion, seemed tuned to perfection. There was no arrogance, only readiness, a predator of a different kind, one who used his mind and body as extensions of each other. He approached the ring, and even as Han sneered, Bruce maintained his calm demeanor. "I've heard a lot about you," Han growled, cracking his knuckles. "But no one outmatches me." Bruce tilted his head, faint smile on his lips. "It's not about matching strength. It's about using it wisely." The audience murmured, sensing the clash of not just fists, but philosophies. Han's method was brute force, overpower, dominate, intimidate. Bruce's was fluid, reactive, strategic, a storm hidden within grace. Before the first strike, Bruce paused at the edge of the ring, looking out at the thousands of fans and millions more watching online. Comment below where you're watching from, a narrator might say, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more legendary battles like this. The words hung in the air as if the crowd itself echoed them, because everyone was about to witness history. As the bell rang, the arena seemed to exhale in unison. The tension between Bruce Lee and Han was electric, stretching across every seat, every camera lens, every heart. And though Han had destroyed every opponent before him, a quiet ripple of disbelief spread through the arena. Bruce wasn't intimidated. He wasn't rushing. He simply readied himself, focused, and prepared to show the world that skill, heart, and discipline could face any storm, even one like Han. And so, the stage was set. The dragon against the storm. The impossible was about to begin. The bell rang, a sharp, echoing clang that seemed to reverberate in every corner of the arena. The audience leaned forward instinctively, eyes wide, breath caught in anticipation. Two legends faced each other. Han, the undefeated powerhouse, and Bruce Lee, the dragon, calm and unassuming but radiating an intensity that could slice steel. Han struck first. A flurry of punches, faster than any human eye could track, aimed to overwhelm Bruce in the opening moments. His fists moved like pistons, each one a test of Bruce's reflexes, his speed, his ability to read the storm before it hit. The dragon shifted, his body flowing with uncanny precision. He didn't just dodge. He moved in a way that seemed to anticipate Han's every strike, slipping past fists, ducking under elbows, redirecting momentum with a flick of his wrists. The crowd gasped. Murmurs rippled through the arena. How is he doing that? He's not human. But Bruce's face remained calm, composed, eyes fixed on Han's every twitch, every microshift in stance. He didn't rush, he didn't panic, he observed. He adapted. Han's frustration began to show. No one had ever resisted his opening assault like this. He lunged, a spinning kick aimed at Bruce's head, a strike meant to end the fight before it began. But Bruce moved with the elegance of water. He didn't meet Han with force, he met him with timing. The kick glanced off, momentum redirected, and Han stumbled slightly, just a fraction, but enough. Bruce saw the opening. He countered with a lightning-quick series of strikes, precise and surgical. Each movement was measured, a punch, a pivot, a low kick. Han blocked some, deflected others, but it was clear, the dragon was not just surviving, he was dictating the rhythm of the fight. The audience erupted into whispers and gasps. Every camera caught the fluidity, the beauty of Bruce's technique. It wasn't brute strength, it was intelligence in motion, an almost otherworldly harmony of mind and body. Han roared in anger, his brute force intensifying. He launched a combination of knees and elbows, trying to overwhelm Bruce with raw power. Sweat flew, feet pounded the mat, and the air itself seemed charged with energy. Each strike Han threw carried the weight of his fearsome reputation, but Bruce moved like liquid steel, flowing, slipping, and striking with precision. Time slowed in the minds of the spectators. Every punch, every block, every subtle feint was magnified in intensity. Bruce's strikes weren't meant to just touch Han, they were meant to break his rhythm, to make him doubt, to chip away at the confidence that had never faltered before. Han swung a massive right hook, aiming to crush Bruce's jaw. Bruce ducked, his head barely grazing Han's fist. He countered with a spinning back kick to Han's midsection, staggering him backward. The arena erupted. People jumped to their feet, some recording, some cheering, some clutching their heads in disbelief. But the fight was far from over. Han regained his balance, fury in his eyes. He lunged again, faster than before, a blur of strikes designed to finish Bruce in one decisive blow. But Bruce was already moving, predicting, reading, flowing. His movements were almost imperceptible, yet devastating in effect. He redirected Han's momentum with subtle pushes, off-balancing the giant with minimal effort, each action designed not to overpower but to outsmart. The clash intensified. Bruce Lee's strikes became sharper, faster, more precise. Each blow was a lesson in efficiency, each movement a demonstration of mastery. Han, frustrated and enraged, started showing cracks in his confidence. The once unstoppable force was now reacting, defensive, unsure. The spectators were on the edge of their seats. Some shouted encouragement. Others whispered in awe. "He's never faced anyone like this," one fan murmured. "The dragon is something else entirely." Every second felt like an eternity. Han's punches thundered, but Bruce's counters were like lightning strikes, quick, decisive, and unpredictable. Sweat dripped, muscles strained, and yet, Bruce remained calm, serene, like a storm in perfect control. Then came a moment of clarity. Han, overextending in his frustration, left a tiny gap, almost invisible to the human eye. Bruce didn't hesitate. In a fluid, almost balletic motion, he struck, landing a precise blow that staggered Han, a crack in the armor no one had anticipated. The crowd gasped, some clutching their mouths. Bruce had done the impossible. He had turned the tide, showing that skill, focus, and strategy could rival even the most brutal force. For the first time, Han's confidence wavered. His eyes flicked to Bruce, a mixture of disbelief and respect. The dragon had proven that raw strength alone was not enough to conquer a master who had trained every muscle, every mind, every reflex to perfection. And so the conflict continued, a relentless, breathtaking dance of power, speed, and skill, where every move counted, every misstep could be fatal, and the impossible began to feel possible. The fight had been raging for what felt like an eternity, though only minutes had passed. Han's strikes, powerful and relentless, had dominated the early rounds, pushing Bruce Lee to the very edge of human endurance. The audience was on the edge of their seats, gasping at every exchange, whispering in disbelief at the dragon's ability to withstand the storm. Han roared, sweat flying from his brow, muscles coiled and snapping with brutal power. His fists moved in a blur, a series of thunderous punches and crushing elbows aimed to end the fight once and for all. Every strike carried the weight of his reputation, a man who had never been defeated, whose opponents trembled at the mere thought of facing him. But Bruce Lee had changed the rhythm of the battle. No longer merely reacting, he began to dictate the flow. Each dodge, each subtle pivot, each counterstrike was calculated, precise, and almost poetic. The dragon was no longer on the defensive. He was moving like water, flowing around Han's attacks, redirecting force with minimal effort, turning Han's own power against him. The arena buzzed with tension. Every spectator could feel the shift in energy. The once unstoppable Han now had to adapt. For the first time, cracks appeared in his armor of confidence. Sweat streamed down his face, his breathing grew heavier, and hesitation, however brief, flickered in his eyes. Han, refusing to be outmatched, lunged with a spinning kick aimed to catch Bruce off guard. The crowd gasped, anticipating the impact. But Bruce anticipated it first. With split-second timing, he shifted his weight, evading the attack with fluid grace, and used the momentum of Han's strike to unbalance him. A subtle push, almost imperceptible, sent Han staggering backward, his foot sliding on the mat. A murmur swept through the crowd. They had seen it. The dragon had exploited a tiny opening that no one else could have noticed. Han's fists clenched, his jaw tight, and yet his eyes betrayed a growing respect and fear. Bruce didn't pause. He moved in with lightning speed, striking with surgical precision. A jab to the midsection, a sweep to the leg, a pivot and counter that sent Han off balance again. Each movement flowed seamlessly into the next, like a choreographed dance of power and skill. It wasn't brute force, it was intelligence in motion, mastery made tangible. Han roared, spinning again, launching a series of rapid kicks and punches. The dragon danced around them, reading Han's intentions before they fully formed. Every feint, every slight shift of weight, was analyzed in an instant. Bruce exploited each opening, exploiting the tiniest misstep, chipping away at Han's confidence with precision strikes and relentless timing. The turning point became clear to everyone in the arena. Han's storm, once unstoppable, was now meeting a force that could flow through it, redirect it, and turn it back on itself. Every blow Han landed was now countered, every rush met with calm calculation. The crowd's disbelief grew louder, some shouted encouragement, others clutched their seats, eyes wide with awe. And then, the moment came. Han overextended in frustration, swinging a massive hook meant to crush Bruce in one move. The dragon, reading the motion, sidestepped with perfect timing and delivered a rapid combination. A jab, a low kick, and a subtle push that sent Han stumbling, teetering on the edge of defeat. For the first time, Han faltered. He wasn't just surprised. He was forced to respect the impossible mastery of Bruce Lee. The dragon had turned the tide, not with brute strength, but with intelligence, timing, and skill honed to perfection. The arena erupted. Spectators leapt to their feet, some cheering, some shouting in disbelief. The impossible was unfolding before their eyes. Bruce Lee had begun to dominate, not by overpowering his opponent, but by outthinking him, reading him, controlling the rhythm of the battle itself. The fight had reached a new level. No longer just a clash of power, it had become a battle of minds, where anticipation, timing, and strategy mattered more than raw force. Han, once untouchable, now faced the dragon's mastery. And in that moment, everyone realized, the impossible might just be possible. The arena was deafening, yet in the center of the ring, a focused silence seemed to envelope Bruce Lee. Han, the feared and undefeated storm of the tournament, was faltering. Every punch, every kick, every move the giant had thrown in the opening rounds had been met with fluid precision, redirected with uncanny timing. For the first time in his career, Han was beginning to understand what it meant to face a master. Bruce's eyes, calm yet burning with intensity, scanned Han's movements. He saw the patterns, the slight hesitation in Han's left shoulder before a hook, the tiny shift in weight before a spinning kick. These were not weaknesses to exploit recklessly, they were opportunities. And Bruce Lee, the dragon, was nothing if not deliberate. Han lunged again, roaring, a flurry of fists and elbows that could have crushed any ordinary man. But Bruce moved like water. He didn't meet force with force. He met it with timing, rhythm, and insight. A twist of the body, a subtle deflection, a strike redirected, and Han stumbled. The crowd gasped. This was the first visible crack in Han's aura of invincibility. Bruce seized the moment. With a rapid series of strikes, precise jabs, low kicks, and sweeping motions, he began to control the rhythm of the fight entirely. Han's attacks, once unstoppable, were now anticipated, countered, and turned back on him. Every strike Bruce delivered wasn't about power, it was about timing, placement, and efficiency. Each blow chipped away at Han's confidence, the aura of invincibility beginning to crumble. The spectators could hardly believe their eyes. Fans shouted and cheered, some filming, some clutching the edges of their seats in disbelief. "The dragon, he's doing it!" a voice cried out. "He's really doing it!" Han tried to regain his dominance, spinning and lunging with desperation. Sweat poured down his face, muscles straining under the weight of his exertion. His breathing was heavier now, ragged, a stark contrast to Bruce's calm, controlled rhythm. Bruce was not just fighting, he was orchestrating a symphony of motion, anticipating every strike and every reaction. The arena seemed to lean forward as Bruce landed a decisive low kick, sweeping Han's legs and unbalancing him. Han staggered, barely holding onto his footing. The dragon's fists moved in perfect harmony with his feet, striking precise, rapid combinations, never overextending, always flowing with lethal grace. And then came the moment that would define the fight. Han overextended in a desperate spinning kick, a strike meant to end it all. Bruce, with almost supernatural anticipation, shifted his body and countered with a flawless strike, a jab to the midsection, followed by a spinning back kick to the side, staggering Han completely. The arena erupted. Spectators were on their feet, shouting, clapping, and cheering as cameras caught every second. Some whispered, almost reverently, "Bruce Lee, he's not just fighting. He's rewriting what we thought was possible." It was in that moment that the fight truly revealed its outcome. Han's once fearsome strikes were now reactive, defensive, unsure. Bruce had not only survived the impossible, he was beginning to dominate it. Every feint, every dodge, every counter was a lesson in mastery. Han, for all his raw strength and power, had met something he could not overpower, the mind, body, and spirit of a true master. And here's where I want you to pause for a moment. Comment below who you think is going to win this fight, smash that like button if you're amazed by Bruce Lee's mastery, and subscribe to follow this epic showdown until the very end. Every second is a lesson in focus, timing, and strategy, something every martial arts fan should witness. Bruce's calm gaze never left Han. The giant, who had demolished countless opponents before, was faltering. And yet, Bruce did not mock, did not boast. Every strike was precise, deliberate, and disciplined. Han's desperation grew. He swung wildly, trying to regain control, but each move played right into Bruce's rhythm. By the end of this sequence, the arena knew Bruce Lee had seized the momentum. He was no longer the underdog, no longer just surviving. The dragon had begun to dictate the fight entirely. Han's storm of power was now being redirected, turned against him with artistry, intelligence, and grace. The impossible had begun to unfold. The crowd could sense it. They had come to witness a battle of legends, but now they were witnessing something more. Bruce Lee transforming what seemed inevitable into the impossible, and making it look effortless. The arena was alive with tension so thick it felt tangible. Every spectator held their breath, leaning forward, straining to see the impossible unfold. Bruce Lee, calm and composed, stood in the center of the ring, eyes locked on Han, the undefeated force of raw power. The once unstoppable Storm now faced a master who had not only survived but had learned, adapted, and begun to control the battle completely. Han roared, a sound filled with frustration and disbelief. His swings had lost their rhythm. His once perfect strikes now met air or Bruce's perfectly timed counters. The crowd could see it. The dragon was no longer just reacting. He was orchestrating every move, every feint, every strike with surgical precision. Han lunged forward one last time, spinning his massive leg in a high kick meant to crush Bruce in one decisive strike. Time seemed to slow. Every eye in the arena tracked the motion, every heart skipped a beat. And yet, Bruce was already moving, a blur of motion, a precise weave around the strike. With a subtle shift of weight and a perfectly timed pivot, he not only avoided Han's kick but turned the giant's momentum against him. The first strike landed, a jab to Han's midsection, swift and precise. It was not brute force, but accuracy, timing, and leverage. Han staggered, trying to regain balance, his eyes widening in disbelief. The crowd erupted into cheers, some screaming, some gasping in awe. This was no ordinary fight. This was mastery in motion. Bruce flowed like water, every motion seamless. He struck again, a rapid series of punches and low kicks that Han could barely react to. Each attack was deliberate, designed to break rhythm, to control the fight, to force the once feared fighter into a reactive state. Han's defenses began to crumble, cracks widening with each expertly placed strike. Sweat flew. Muscles strained. Every movement was amplified by the collective heartbeat of the arena. But Bruce remained focused, calm, and precise, a predator in perfect harmony with his environment. Han's roars turned to grunts, his attacks desperate, erratic, lacking the control that had made him unbeatable. And then came the final sequence. Han, exhausted, overextended in a massive spinning kick meant to finish the fight. Bruce anticipated it instinctively. With the fluid grace of a master, he shifted his body, evading the strike completely. Using Han's own momentum against him, Bruce delivered a precise combination: a low sweep to the legs, a push to the midsection, and a spinning back kick to the chest. Han stumbled, then fell. The sound of his body hitting the mat reverberated through the arena like a clap of thunder. Silence fell for a heartbeat, a suspended moment of disbelief. And then, the eruption. The crowd leapt to their feet, shouting, clapping, cheering. Cameras flashed. People were screaming, some crying in awe, others jumping and cheering for the impossible victory they had just witnessed. Bruce Lee stood tall, calm and composed, his chest heaving only slightly, sweat glistening on his forehead. He hadn't just survived the storm, he had tamed it, outsmarted it, and conquered it. Han, the undefeated powerhouse, lay on the mat, dazed, humbled, and in awe of the dragon's skill. It was more than a victory, it was a lesson in mastery. Every spectator understood what they had witnessed. Strength alone does not define a champion. Discipline, timing, focus, and heart can overcome even the most fearsome force. Bruce Lee had proven it in front of the world, rewriting the definition of what was possible in combat. Han slowly rose, his face a mixture of respect and disbelief. He extended a hand, and Bruce accepted it, a silent acknowledgement between warriors. No words were needed. The fight had spoken for itself. The crowd continued to roar, celebrating the dragon's triumph, cheering for a legend who had turned the impossible into reality. Bruce nodded once to the audience, then slowly walked to the edge of the ring. His victory was quiet, dignified, a lesson louder than any words could convey. The arena, still buzzing with energy, had witnessed not just a fight, but history. Bruce Lee had taken the battle that no one thought he could win and made it look effortless, elegant, and inevitable. The dragon had risen above the storm, proving that mastery is more than power, it is control, strategy, and heart. The spectators would tell this story for years. Children would mimic the strikes, Students would study the movements, and fans would remember this moment as the day the impossible was conquered. The arena was quiet now, but not with emptiness. It was the quiet that follows awe, the hush that descends after witnessing something extraordinary. Bruce Lee stood at the center of the ring, chest rising and falling calmly, eyes still focused, but a subtle smile graced his face. The impossible had been achieved. The undefeated Han, once a symbol of raw, unchallenged power, had been bested not through sheer force, but through mastery, precision, and heart. It was a moment that transcended the fight itself. The crowd realized that what they had witnessed was more than martial arts. It was a lesson in life. Strength alone cannot carry a man. Confidence without discipline can be broken. And arrogance, no matter how fierce, is powerless against focus, preparation, and respect for the craft. Bruce's movements, calm yet decisive, had shown that victory comes not from dominance but from understanding. Understanding your opponent, understanding yourself, and understanding the flow of the moment. Every strike, every counter, every pivot had been a reflection of that philosophy. Han, now sitting quietly, wiped sweat from his brow and looked at Bruce with a mix of respect and humility. In that silent acknowledgement between warriors, the lesson became clear. The greatest battles are not always the loudest or the most violent. They are the ones fought with precision, focus, and heart. The spectators began to cheer again, but this time it wasn't just excitement, it was reverence. They had seen a master at work. They had seen a demonstration of what discipline, courage, and relentless dedication can achieve. And they knew that this story would be remembered for years to come, not for the fight itself, but for the principles it revealed. And now, here's your moment. If you've been inspired by Bruce Lee's mastery, comment, "Respect the Dragon," below. Tell us where you're watching from, share the love for martial arts, and join the community of fans who understand that true strength is measured by control, focus, and heart. While you're at it, smash that like button and subscribe to witness more legendary battles and learn the secrets of warriors who turn the impossible into reality. As the crowd dispersed and the lights dimmed, one truth lingered in the minds of everyone present. True mastery is silent. True power is not in the roar of the strike, but in the calm precision of every move. True respect is earned, not demanded. And sometimes, the person you least expect is the one capable of showing the world the impossible. Bruce Lee walked from the ring quietly, leaving behind more than a victory. He left a lesson, etched in every heart in the arena. Humility, focus, preparation, and courage. These were the weapons of the dragon. Han had fought fiercely, but even he understood the deeper lesson. Power without skill, heart, and discipline is hollow. The cameras captured the final moments, the roar of the audience echoing in the night. And though the fight was over, the story would live forever. Every student, every fan, every future martial artist would study this battle, not just to emulate the moves, but to internalize the lessons. Because Bruce Lee had shown that true victory is more than winning, it is mastering yourself, and through that mastery, overcoming even the impossible. So now it's your turn. Comment, like, and subscribe, and join the journey. Share this story, honor the dragon, and remember, the impossible is only impossible until someone masters it.